In my past life, my mom caused my CEO dad's car accident and death. My maternal grandparents went bankrupt and committed suicide, and my Uncle Kyle was framed and sent to prison. Reborn, they all returned to get revenge on my mom. Dad stared at Mom's slightly rounded belly, his eyes dark. Chloe, are you trying to trick me with a fake pregnancy again? This life, I'll never believe you. The next second, he unexpectedly heard my inner voice. Fake pregnancy? Does Daddy think I don't exist? I'm here. Daddy, you're so handsome. You look super strong. You can definitely protect Mommy and me. My CEO dad froze, startled. Kyle sneered from the side. Chloe deliberately claims pregnancy to gain our pity. Then she'll start plotting to harm us. This time, I'll make her life a living hell. Mom looked at them, confused, while I kicked my feet around inside her belly. Uncle, my mommy isn't lying, okay? When I'm born, Uncle will lift me up high and spin me around. Everyone stared at Mom's slightly bulging belly, suddenly falling silent. Didn't Vivian say Chloe was faking her pregnancy? So who was this little one having a concert in there? Under the cold hospital lights, the entire family's gazes were glued to Mom's slightly rounded belly. I shyly curled up, rolling halfway in the warm womb. Oh no! So many people are staring at baby. I'm shy. Dad and Kyle's bodies subtly jolted at the same time. Grandpa Richard and Grandma Eleanor also exchanged surprised glances. They had all clearly heard that sweet, baby-like complaint. Vivian, oblivious, only found their sudden, more eerie silence strange. The dagger in Dad's hand clattered to the floor. He stared intensely at Mom's belly, his expression shifting from dark to utterly bewildered and uncertain. Mom looked up at him, asking confusedly, "What fake pregnancy? Honey, are you too excited to be a dad?" And Mom, Dad, Kyle, why do you all look so upset? Aren't you happy I'm pregnant? No one present paid attention to Mom's confusion. Their eyes were filled with deep resentment. Doctor, Dad suddenly yelled towards the door. Arrange a full prenatal checkup for her immediately. Vivian, the fake sister, quickly grabbed Dad's sleeve, her voice laced with urgency. Ethan, in the past life, didn't you personally see her big belly was just a pillow? And the private doctor I hired explicitly said she wasn't pregnant. Why check again? Hearing that, my tiny foot lightly kicked the uterine wall. That bad woman is lying again. In the past life, Mommy was pregnant with me, but a bad person pushed her down the stairs, and she lost her baby. That's why she held a pillow every day and sang lullabies. I could only become a little ghost, wiping away Mommy's tears. My little hands ached from struggling for countless days, to finally get this chance to be reborn and come back to Mommy's tummy. Thinking this, my nose stung, and I couldn't help but rub my cheek gently against the uterine wall, like a tiny kitten. Mommy, don't be scared. This time, I'll definitely protect you. I'm excited to see this world, excited to see Daddy and Mommy. Shut up. Everyone shut up. Dad suddenly covered his ears, his pupils constricting violently as he stared at Mom's abdomen. Doctor, immediately. Now a prenatal checkup. A flicker of panic crossed Vivian's eyes. Kyle couldn't help but frown either. During the examination, when the cool ultrasound gel touched Mom's belly, I wiggled curiously. Wow, the chilly gel feels like Jell-O. Is the doctor looking for me with that probe? I'm here. I'm here. Let Daddy see me. Dad unconsciously held his breath, staring intently at the screen. Kyle instinctively took a half step forward, and Grandpa Richard and Grandma Eleanor clenched their hands tightly. The ultrasound machine suddenly emitted a strong, rhythmic thumping sound. A tiny, bean-like outline appeared on the screen, actively kicking its little legs. 14 weeks gestation. Fetal heartbeat is strong and normal, the doctor said, pushing up his glasses. Miss Chloe is indeed pregnant, and the baby is very healthy and active. The color drained from Vivian's face completely, and she quickly spoke. Impossible. In the past life, you all saw it. She accused me of pushing her down the stairs, and after her miscarriage, it was a pillow that fell out. Ethan, you saw it with your own eyes. How could she really be pregnant? The whole family was stunned, but what echoed in their minds was my earlier thought. Was pushed down the stairs by a bad person and lost her baby. Especially Dad. Listening to my cheerful inner voice and seeing the indeed existing tiny bean on the screen, his expression was incredibly complex. Vivian saw their expressions soften. She immediately put on that pitiful look, speaking softly and weakly. Maybe we truly misunderstood Chloe in the past life. Perhaps she was really pregnant but miscarried accidentally, then had a breakdown and mistook the pillow for her baby. It's just, I can't understand how someone intellectually impaired and mentally unstable could be so cunning, capable of plotting against us and causing our deaths. Hearing this, Kyle immediately scoffed, his eyes filled with vigilance and hatred. So, what if she's not faking her pregnancy? It's an undeniable fact that Chloe ruined our family in the past life. And what kind of good could come from that vicious woman's belly? Probably just a little monster, here to make our lives hell. Wah! Uncle's mean. How can he call me monster? I'm here to bring good fortune. I pouted aggrievedly, turning over unhappily in Mom's tummy. Kyle choked on his words at this sudden protest, and went silent. Mom seemed to sense something, gently stroking her belly. She looked at her family even more confusedly. You're all so strange. Pregnancy, and you're talking about past lives? No one had the mind to explain the past life to a beautiful, simple-minded woman with low intelligence. Vivian's eyes turned cold, but when she looked at Kyle, Richard, and Eleanor, her voice became sugary sweet. Kyle, how can you speak of Chloe and her unborn child like that? Chloe doesn't know anything right now, and her intelligence is low. Perhaps the maliciousness from the past life. Enough! Dad abruptly cut her off, his voice sharp. He rubbed his temples, his mind filled with my thoughts of becoming a little ghost to wipe Mommy's tears, and struggled for countless days. A strange pang twisted in his chest. Even if she was bad, the child is innocent. Though his tone was still firm, the killing intent from before was clearly gone. Grandpa Richard also frowned, looking at his daughter's bewildered, innocent eyes and her bulging abdomen, speaking in a low voice. Until things are completely clear, everyone, speak less. His gaze swept over Vivian, carrying a flicker of scrutiny. Grandma Eleanor looked at the little life on the screen, and a subtle softness also flashed in her eyes. Vivian felt a jolt of panic seeing them hesitate, but on her face, she managed to look even more wronged. That's true. Maybe this time our family can have a good ending. At her words, the various events of the past life seemed to replay before everyone's eyes, preventing them from letting down their guard or their hatred. Vivian saw that she had achieved her desired effect, and immediately looked at Mom provocatively. Chloe, everyone cares about you so much. You really must keep this baby safe. Mom completely missed the malice in her words, returning a bright, silly smile and nodding vigorously. Thank you, Vivian, for your concern. Baby and I will do our best. Vivian choked at her pure reaction, almost failing to maintain her expression. Back at the family estate, the atmosphere remained heavy. Though Dad no longer mentioned tormenting Mom, his gaze was still cold. Grandpa Richard and Grandma Eleanor were silent, and Kyle had moved to the guest house furthest from the main residence, adopting an out-of-sight, out-of-mind attitude. Yet, in his ears, he still seemed to hear Uncle's mean. It was the weekend family dinner. A critical bidding document from Grandpa Richard's study had vanished without a trace. Search! Search everywhere! Grandpa Richard roared, his face ashen with fury. Only family members knew where that document was kept. All suspicious glances instantly focused on Mom. After all, in the past life, It was Mom who had leaked company secrets. Vivian, supporting Grandpa Richard, appeared worried, but every word was carefully manipulative. Chloe, you're the only one who entered Dad's study these past few days. I know your memory isn't great during pregnancy, but the document is very important. Can you please try to remember where you put it? Mom looked bewildered, trying hard to recall. I did go into the study to bring Dad ginseng tea, but I didn't touch any documents. Ah, that bad woman wants Mom to take the fall again. That bad woman clearly snuck into the study last night herself, took Grandpa's document, and hid it under the rug. I saw it all. You want to frame Mommy again? You bad person? I was so furious I kicked and thrashed inside Mom's belly. Dad, Kyle, Grandpa Richard, and Grandma Eleanor's faces all changed simultaneously. Their gazes shot towards the rug in the corner of the study. There, indeed, was a small, barely noticeable bulge. Vivian noticed to stare, her face changing abruptly. She instinctively moved her hand to block it. Dad's face was as dark as a storm cloud, his gaze icy as he stared at her. Get the document you hid under the rug out. Vivian flinched back. Ethan, I didn't. Get it out. Dad's tone broke to no argument. Finally, the lost document was found under the rug. The setup was undeniable, the evidence ironclad. Vivian's tears instantly welled up. Her shoulders trembled slightly. She looked utterly wronged. It was me who hid it, I'm sorry. I was just so scared. I was afraid Chloe would, like in the past life, leak such an important document and cause our family's bankruptcy, leading to a tragic life. I didn't know what to do. I just acted on impulse. I thought I'd hide it first and secretly put it back after the bidding ended. That way, it would be foolproof. Her excuse was riddled with holes, even a little foolish. However, seeing Vivian cry so heartbrokenly and hearing her mention the past life's tragedy, the strictness in Grandpa Richard and Grandma Eleanor's eyes softened slightly, replaced by a complex understanding. As if her foolish actions truly stemmed from love and fear for the family. Kyle immediately stepped forward, shielding her. Vivian was also thinking of the family. She just used the wrong method. Compared to someone who deliberately plotted to ruin our family and lives in the past, this small oversight is nothing. I lay in Mom's tummy, idly splashing my little feet in the amniotic fluid. Uncle! That bad woman wasn't unintentional at all. She deliberately framed Mom. If Dad hadn't helped Mommy this time, Mommy would have been accused of leaking information again, just like in the past. Silly uncle. I won't let you lift me up high anymore. Kyle's body stiffened abruptly, and the arm protecting Vivian seemed to freeze slightly, his mood heavy. Dad frowned, staring at the crying Vivian, not speaking immediately, but the suspicion in his eyes deepened. Over the next few days, similar minor incidents happened one after another. Whenever something bad occurred in the family, all evidence would point to my beautiful, slightly naive mom. Each time, as the entire family turned their accustomed hateful glances towards my bewildered and helpless mom, my clear and urgent inner voice would chime in at just the right moment, like a little detective pointing out the crucial evidence. Initially, they remained skeptical, but every time they investigated according to the hints, they accurately found evidence proving Mom's innocence. Time after time. Dad's gaze towards Mom was no longer the pure hatred it had been, but filled with incredible confusion. Grandpa Richard and Grandma Eleanor looked at Mom's consistently clear, slightly silly, innocent eyes. Comparing them to Vivian's feeble excuses after being exposed again and again, they fell into a prolonged silence. Even Kyle, the most unwavering, in the face of repeated coincidences and evidence, gradually couldn't immediately jump to Vivian's defense. He just looked at Mom with a more complex and scrutinizing gaze. Could it be that the vicious woman, Chloe, who had ruined their family in the past life, was truly innocent? After a business gala, Dad and Kyle went to the parking lot to get their car, and Mom and Vivian followed. Suddenly, a dozen men armed with clubs and menacing expressions surrounded them from the shadows. "Long time no see, Ethan Kyle." The leader grinned maliciously. "Finally caught you alone. This time, if I don't cripple you, I'll have lived for nothing." "Oh, and you brought 2 pretty women along, huh? Perfect. Let's take them all." I was so anxious I bounced around inside Mom's belly. This didn't happen in the past life. Why are there bad guys suddenly coming to bully Daddy and Uncle Kyle? Daddy and Uncle Kyle, you must be careful. Hearing my inner voice, Dad and Kyle's faces hardened simultaneously, and they quickly took a defensive stance, back to back. Dad looked at the lecherous leader, his face sinking. "Watch your mouth. Say one more word, and I'll rip it off." Kyle's face was also incredibly grim. "Vivian, Chloe, you 2 go first." Vivian's voice trembled. "No, how can I leave you with so many people? We're family." Even with her low intelligence, Mom could tell it was dangerous. Protecting her belly, she blurted out, "Okay, I'll go first." With that, she actually turned and ran without hesitation. Her speed was unbelievable for a pregnant woman. Dad and Kyle, seeing her decisive abandonment and self-preservation, couldn't help but feel disheartened. The hatred for her that had recently wavered surged up again. Kyle scoffed, his tone full of sarcasm. Sure enough, in a crisis, she's not so dumb. Her selfish nature is exposed. Just like in the past life, and we actually believed her again and again. Foolish for 2 lifetimes, huh? Dad's lips were pressed into a thin line, and though he said nothing, his eyes had grown much colder. Vivian, seeing Mom run off, had a flicker of surprise and triumph in her eyes, then switched back to a look of extreme worry. "Kyle, Ethan, even if Chloe doesn't care about our lives, she's pregnant. With so many bad guys, I'm worried. I'm going to check on her." After saying that, she also quickly ran off, but instead of chasing Mom, she hailed a car and, smirking, she drove off. In the parking lot, Dad and Kyle stood back to back, surrounded by a dozen burly men with iron bars. Both were injured. Ethan's lip was split and bleeding, and Kyle's white shirt had blood seeping from the shoulder. The leader's eyes gleamed malevolently as he swung the cold iron bar. "Brothers, they're exhausted. Let's get them. They're worth a fortune, millions each. If we sell their organs separately, even more valuable." As the others prepared to charge again, Dad and Kyle's faces were grim. Just then, my inner voice was heard from the darkness. "There's no signal here in the parking lot, but Mommy has already called the police, and she's also called Grandpa and Grandma. The police will be here soon. Daddy and Uncle Kyle, you must hold on. Mommy, you must protect yourself too. I'm so scared and worried." Then came Mom's scream. She rushed out of the parking lot, holding a thick wooden stick, sweating profusely. "Stop it! No one gets to bully my family." Dad's eyes were wide with shock and horror. Kyle's ear was bleeding badly, and he couldn't hear a thing. Seeing Mom run back, his face twisted with scorn and hatred. "You didn't care about sticking together a moment ago. Now you're back pretending? Chloe, are you here to watch us die? Are you happy to see us die again?" Mom ignored Kyle's taunts. Seeing the group swinging their clubs at Kyle's head, she screamed. Kyle, terrified, she rushed forward like a madwoman, throwing herself over him. The heavy iron bar struck her with brutal force. Mom screamed, and in front of Kyle, she collapsed softly to the ground. Bright red blood immediately gushed from between her legs, quickly staining her light-colored skirt. 2 voices, twisted with shock, simultaneously pierced the silent night. "Chloe! Chloe!"